Live India's Voice to the World. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Revised indictment filed against former U.S. President Donald Trump in January 6th Capitol riots case. First rioter gets over 4 years of prison. Trump claims decks cleared for presidential debate on ABC. Team Harris says terms not yet settled as issue of muted mics dictates contrasting claims. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky says advancement in Kursk region is part of victory plan to be presented to U.S. President Joe Biden. Dismisses compromises with Russia, calls dialogue meaningless. Heavy rains, flood-like situation wreaks havoc in western India's Gujarat. Downpour leads to waterlogging in many districts. And in sports, Paris to host its first ever Paralympic Games with a spectacular opening ceremony in the heart of France's capital. 4,400 Paralympic athletes from 184 delegations are set to participate. And on to the details now. Former U.S. President Donald Trump faced a revised federal indictment on Tuesday, accusing him of illegally trying to overturn his 2020 election loss. U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith's team obtained a new indictment in the Washington case. Jack Smith's filing came in response to the Supreme Court's ruling giving former presidents broad immunity. This indictment, like the initial one, accuses Trump of a multi-part conspiracy to block the certification of his election defeat to Biden. The revised indictment focuses on Trump's role as a political candidate seeking re-election rather than as a president at the time. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator and Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance said that the conspiracy charge against former President Donald Trump was an attempt to interfere in the upcoming November 5th election. Vance insisted that presidents, like judges and police officers, should have some immunity.
Well, I think just my pushback on what they said is, look, if the president doesn't have some level of immunity in how he conducts his office, in the same way that judges have to have immunity, police officers have to have immunity, there has to be some recognition that people can't be sued for doing their job. And, you know, the way that I think about it is try to make this nonpartisan.
Well, the first rioter to breach the U.S. Capitol building during the January 6, 2021 riots was sentenced to nearly 4.5 years in prison on Tuesday. Michael Sparks was convicted by a jury in March of felony obstruction of an official proceeding and civil disorder and misdemeanors, including disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, entering a restricted building and disorderly conduct in a Capitol building. The judge ordered 53 months of prison along with $2,000 in restitution to the architect of the Capitol. The video during the riots showed Sparks jumping through a shattered Capitol window shortly after another rioter, Proud Boy Dominic Pezzola, busted it open. When he entered the Capitol, he came face-to-face with the U.S. Capitol Police Sergeant Victor Nichols. And ahead of the presidential elections in the United States, former U.S. President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has accepted the debate with Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. Sharing a post on the social media platform Truth, Trump said an agreement has been reached to have closed microphones at the September 10th U.S. presidential debate with Democratic rival in Philadelphia. Vice President Kamala Harris' presidential campaign, however, rejected Republican rival Trump's assertion that the two sides had agreed to muted microphones at the September 10th U.S. presidential debate. Harris' campaign officials said the issue remains a matter of ongoing conversation with host network ABC. The candidates' campaign clashed on Monday over the previously agreed upon debate, with the vice president's team seeking a return to open microphones, while Trump threatened to pull out entirely after suggesting the network was biased. And as tensions between Russia and Ukraine continues, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that his troops' incursion into Russia's Kursk region is part of a victory plan that he will present to U.S. President Joe Biden next month. Speaking at a forum on Tuesday, President Zelensky noted that the success of the plan would depend on President Biden and on whether the U.S. would give Kyiv what is in this plan or not, whether we will be free to use this plan or not. Ukraine mostly relies on military supplies from abroad to fight Russia and repel its attacks. At the forum, President Zelensky also urged West to provide additional weapons.
Operation in the Kursk region is a part of a plan about which I will be talking with President Biden. The main point of this plan is to force Russia to end the war. And I really want it to end on fair terms for Ukraine. If the plan is accepted and delivered, which is also very important, if these two elements work together, then we believe that our main aim will be reached.
Well, Zelensky also called the dialogues with Russia meaningless and dismisses any compromises on it.
There can be no compromises with Putin. Dialogue today is in principle empty and meaningless because he does not want to end the war diplomatically. He does not want it. He pretends to be ready for a diplomatic way, but under the condition of giving him 30% of our land.
And on the other hand, warning West, Russia cautioned the United States on Tuesday that World War III would not be confined to Europe. Moscow said that West is playing with fire by considering allowing Ukraine to strike deep into Russia with Western ammunitions. The reactions came after Ukraine's continuous incursion in Russia's western Kursk region on August 6th that has carved out a slice of territory in the biggest foreign attack on Russia since World War II. And at least 6 people were killed in a Russian drone attack on Tuesday in Ukraine, a day after Moscow's biggest air attack on its neighbor. 3 people died in a hotel in the central city of Kryvyi Rih, whereas other 3 due to drone attacks on the southeastern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia. President Volodymyr Zelensky vowed to retaliate against Russia for its attacks. This follows Monday's strike where over 200 Russian missiles and drones were launched at Ukraine. The attack received widespread international condemnation. Also, United Nations aid operations in the Gaza Strip continued on Tuesday. Earlier, humanitarian efforts had ground to a halt because new Israeli evacuation orders forced the shutdown of the main UN operations center. UN Safety and Security Chief Gilles McCord said on Tuesday that over the weekend, the Israeli military only gave a few hours' notice for more than 200 UN personnel to move out of offices and living spaces in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. In a statement, McCord said that the United Nations is determined to stay in Gaza, while UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said UN is whatever is possible for aid to be delivered.
We've just shared with you a statement from Gilles Michaud, the Undersecretary General for Safety and Security, that makes it clear that we are determined to stay in Gaza to deliver life-saving aid for and with Palestinian civilians. Humanitarian aid delivery continues, a tremendous feat given that we are operating in the uppermost peripheries of tolerable risk. Mr. Michaud underscores that humanitarians have been in the crosshairs throughout this crisis, which is by far the deadliest on record for the United Nations.
Well, meanwhile, Israeli special forces have recovered an Israeli hostage from a tunnel in the southern Gaza Strip in a complex rescue operation. He was in Hamas captivity for more than 10 months. 52-year-old Quaid Farhan Al-Qadi had been transferred to hospital and his condition was stable. He belongs to the Bedouin community in southern Israel. Al-Qadi's rescue leaves 108 Israeli and foreign hostages still in Gaza, but around a third of these are known to have died, with the fate of the others unknown. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with freed hostage Quaid Farhan Al-Qadi. He congratulated Al-Qadi and told him that the entire people of Israel were moved by his being freed. The Prime Minister made it clear that he would continue to do everything for the return of the hostages.
Welcome home, Farhan Al-Qadi. I commend the IDFA and the ISA for another successful rescue operation. We are working relentlessly to return all of our hostages. We are doing this in two main ways: negotiations and rescue operations. The two of these together require our military presence on the ground and constant military pressure on Hamas. We will continue to act until we return all of them home.
And an Israeli airstrike hit a pickup truck traveling in northeast Lebanon late on Tuesday, which was said to be carried military equipment. The two sources said the strike hit a pickup near a remote area of Lebanon near the Syrian border. 2 days earlier, the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah and the Israeli military engaged in one of the most intense exchanges of fire between them over the last 10 months, amid fears that Israel's war in Gaza would become a wider regional conflict. And the United States reaffirmed its support to Israel against Iran. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said the U.S. remains committed to defending Israel in the event of an Iranian attack. Kirby told Israel's Channel 12 that it was tough to predict the chances of an attack, but the White House takes Iranian rhetoric seriously. He said their messaging to Iran is consistent, has been and will stay consistent. There's no reason to potentially start some sort of all-out regional war, and we are going to be prepared to defend Israel if it comes to that. And the Greek-flagged crude oil tanker Soyunion that has recently attacked by Yemen's Houthis is still on fire in the Red Sea and now appears to be leaking oil. The Soyunion was targeted last week by multiple projectiles off Yemen's port city of Hodeidah. The Iran-aligned group has sunk 2 ships and killed at least 3 crew members in their 10-month campaign, which has upended global ocean shipping by forcing vessel owners to avoid the Suez Canal shortcut. The Soyunion was the 3rd vessel operated by Athens-based Delta tankers to be attacked in the Red Sea this month. Pentagon spokesman Air Force Major General Patrick Ryder said that a third party had tried to send 2 tugs to help salvage the Soyunion.
We are aware of a third party that attempted to send 2 tugs to the vessel to help salvage, but they were warned away by the Houthis and threatened with being attacked, which again demonstrates their blatant disregard for not only human life, but also for the potential environmental catastrophe that this presents.
And now let's take a look from stories around the world. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited Berlin's iconic Brandenburg Gate on Tuesday on his first visit to Germany as Prime Minister. He was accompanied by British Ambassador to Germany, Jill Gillard. Eastern Bolivia's Nuflo du Champs province faces a grave threat as wildfires engulf the region, endangering treasured cultural sites. The historic Cathedral of Conception houses a priceless collection of Baroque music, manuscripts and Chiquianto art. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site built in the 1700s. The Israeli Antiquities Authority will open 2 Roman-era tombs decorated with murals of Greek mythological figures to the public. The tombs, which date back more than 1600 years and were discovered more than half a century apart, are located near the port of Israel's southern city of Ashkelon, nestled between a residential area and a public garden. Taiwanese conservationists are rolling out a new bear-friendly snare designed to prevent injuries to the endangered Formosan black bears, which have suffered from traditional traps set by indigenous hunters. Over 5,600 of these updated traps have been distributed, aiming to balance wildlife protection with respect for indigenous practices. East London has bid farewell to the UK's first vinyl hotel, Vinyl Pimp, which offered music enthusiasts a free stay with a $300 vinyl purchase. The guest house, decked out with turntables and thousands of records, provided a unique retreat for music lovers. As the owner shifts focus to fatherhood, this distinctive venture comes to a close. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Chile Foreign Minister Clavron arrives in New Delhi to attend second India-Chile Joint Commission meeting today. Today marks 10 years since the launch of the world's largest financial inclusion program, Jandhan Yojana. And after 5 Grand Slam titles to her name, Iga Swiatek reaches second round at US Open.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lapakshi Kurana. Moving on, Foreign Affairs Minister of Chile, Alberto Van Cleveren, has arrived in New Delhi for a 3-day official visit. The second India-Chile Joint Commission meeting will be held today, co-chaired by India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and visiting dignitary. Minister Cleveren will participate along with his Agriculture Minister, Esteban Valenzuela, in Chile-India Business Summit later today before leaving for Mumbai. Chile is a key partner of India in the Latin American region. The forthcoming visit of Minister Cleveren will provide both sides an opportunity to review the progress in bilateral relations and explore new avenues for cooperation, further strengthening bilateral ties. And the 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meeting was held in New Delhi on Tuesday. India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and Brazilian counterpart Morocco chaired the fruitful and comprehensive meeting. Both sides took stock of bilateral ties, including cooperation in trade, defense, energy and biofuels, health, sustainable agriculture, space, connectivity, technology, and furthering business linkages. They also exchanged views on global geopolitical developments, the shared concerns and aspirations of the global South, in advancing our engagement in BRICS, IPSA, G20 and the UN. Jaishankar reiterated India's continued support to Brazil's G20 presidency. Brazilian Foreign Minister's 4-day official visit concludes today. And moving on now, failing to adopt measures for Security Council reforms at its current session, the UN General Assembly on Tuesday decided unanimously to push the negotiations to the next, a move India decried as risking the process's legitimacy. India's Deputy Permanent Representative Ambassador Yojana Patel on Tuesday delivered India's remarks on equitable representation on increase in the membership of the Security Council. She stressed that there is a clear global extentiment for UNSC expansion and that intergovernmental negotiations cannot exercise in perpetuity only on paper. She added that the time is running out.
We've just shared with you a statement from Gilles Michaud, the Undersecretary General for Safety and Security, that makes it clear that we are determined to stay in Gaza to deliver life-saving aid for and with Palestinian civilians. Humanitarian aid delivery continues, a tremendous feat given that we are operating at the uppermost peripheries of tolerable risk. Mr. Michaud underscores that humanitarians have been in the crosshairs throughout this crisis, which is by far the deadliest on record for the United Nations.
Well, in the western Indian state of Gujarat, heavy showers continued for the 3rd consecutive day on Tuesday, throwing normal life out of gear and flooding low-lying areas. More than 15,000 people were evacuated and over 300 rescued in different districts as water levels in dams and rivers rose amid incessant rainfall. National Disaster Response Force and State Disaster Response Force teams, besides Army, Navy, Air Force and Coast Guard teams, continue to conduct search and rescue operations. And 28th August 2024 marks 10 years since the launch of the world's largest financial inclusion program, the Jandhan Yojana, which was designed to provide banking services to the unbanked sections of Indian society, has now created more than 530 million bank accounts. Linked to mobile phone numbers and India's unique identity cards called Aadhaar, this initiative has played a leading role in harnessing the true potential of India's digital public infrastructure. More in this report.
प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना के माध्यम से हम देश के गरीब से गरीब लोगों को बैंक अकाउंट की सुविधा से जोड़ना चाहते हैं.
The Pradhan Mantri Jandhan Yojana is the world's largest financial inclusion program initiated by the Government of India. It provides affordable access to financial services such as bank accounts, remittances, credit, insurance and pensions to almost every citizen of the country. As of August 2024, there are over 530 million Jandhan bank accounts, with a total balance that exceeds 231,000 crore rupees. That's around $28 billion US.
Under the Jandhan scheme, more than 500 million bank accounts have been opened for beneficiaries. With regard to processing infrastructure, basic connectivity has been ensured through availability of affordable mobile phones and internet. Even in rural areas, the mobile teledensity is around 60%. The trinity of Jandhan accounts, Aadhaar and mobile phones, popularly known as the JAM Trinity, has provided the base DPI infrastructure which is being leveraged for multiple value-added services.
The sheer magnitude of the program has laid the foundation for the success of India's digital public infrastructure that has found praise among world leaders.
Rural farmers in India who never had a relationship with the banking system are now able to transact all their businesses on their smartphone. They pay their bills, they receive payment for orders. 800 million people lifted out of poverty.
What has made the program successful has been that the accounts provide the framework for transferring financial benefits of government schemes directly to the beneficiary. Apart from that, there are life and health insurance schemes, pension schemes and microcredit facilities that accrue to eligible account holders. To enhance digital access, there are more than 320 million RuPay debit cards provided to these accounts. 67% of them are in rural and semi-urban areas.
Modi has done an unbelievable job in India. He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. He has 400 million people without toilets. Really? And we're lecturing them how to do things? They put in this unbelievable, every citizen by hand or by eyeball or by finger is recognized. They open bank accounts for 700 million people. The transfer payments are going through. They've got an unbelievable education system, unbelievable infrastructure. They're lifting up that whole country.
Aiding the process of financial literacy are 115,900 bank mitras who deliver branchless banking services. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of financial inclusion through the Jandhan, Aadhaar and mobile has been truly revolutionary. It provided a big bang moment for India's rapid economic transition and growth that 10 years on, we see in almost every aspect of Indian life. Bureau Report, DD India.
And in sports, now let's give you all the updates from Paralympics. Well, the city of Paris is all set to host its first ever Summer Paralympic Games in a grand opening ceremony tonight. Place de la Concorde and the Champs-Élysées will host 4,400 Paralympic athletes from 184 delegations as they celebrate the commencement of 11 days of competition starting from today. The ceremony will again take place outside the confines of a stadium, with athletes parading down the famous avenue, culminating in a celebration and official opening of the Paralympic Games at the iconic square in front of thousands of spectators. Meanwhile, as India gears up for the Paris 2024 Paralympics, the anticipation is high, with the country's largest ever contingent set to compete. The Games will feature 84 Indian athletes, which is a significant increase from the 54 who participated in Tokyo 2020. Here are some of the key Indian medal hopefuls for Paris 2024. Take a look.
Avni Lekra, parachuting. Avni Lekra made history at the Tokyo 2020 as the first Indian woman to win Paralympic gold. She excelled in the 10-meter air rifle SH1 event and also won bronze in the 50-meter rifle 3 positions SH1. Lekra's continued dominance in shooting is highly anticipated as she returns to defend her titles in Paris. Sumit Antil, para-athletics. Sumit Antil, the gold medalist in the men's F64 javelin throw at the Tokyo Paralympics, is a 2-time world champion and holds the world record in his category. Antil's exceptional form and previous successes make him a leading contender for gold in Paris Paralympic Games. Manish Narwal, parachuting. Manish Narwal clinched gold medal in the mixed 50-meter pistol SH1 event at the Tokyo Paralympics. His sharpshooting skills and previous accolades place him among the top competitors in Paris Games. Krishna Nagar, para badminton. Krishna Nagar secured gold in men's singles SH6 at Tokyo 2020. His exceptional performance and previous successes make him a strong candidate for a medal in Paris Paralympic Games. Sheetal Devi, para archery. At 17, Sheetal Devi is a rising star in para archery. She won gold in the individual compound and mixed team compound events at the 2022 Asian Para Games, and her strong performances make her a strong contender for the Paris Paralympic Games also. Suyash Jadhav, para swimming. Suyash Jadhav is prominent para swimmer, won gold in the 50-meter butterfly at the Asian Para Games. He will compete in the multiple events, including the 50-meter freestyle and 100-meter backstroke, aiming to build on his past successes. Naran Singh's report, DD India.
Well, moving on to the US Open, top seed Iga Swiatek overcame a slew of unforced errors to secure a spot in the second round on Tuesday. Swiatek secured a victory over Russian lucky loser Kamila Rakimova. The 23-year-old has 5 Grand Slam titles to her name. Meanwhile, in the men's single, top-seeded Italian Jannik Sinner shrugged off the doping furor surrounding him and overcame a bad start to earn a victory over American Mackenzie McDonald. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.